Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cluedunnit. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Jessica. This is the podcast where we make wild guesses about fake TV crimes.
Fake TV crimes, people. They're a lot more fun than real crimes, I guarantee.
And join our Patreon if you want to hear some more.
Patreon.com/Cluedunnit podcast.
You can become a detective or a detective inspector, which gets you more votes.
We're doing the I don't think it's finished yet. We're doing the season poll, so
yes,
you can guess.
Please.
You can help figure out what we're going to guess on next.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. You get
extra votes in that if you're a Patreon.
Yeah, you can go to our Instagram. You can go to our website, and the poll is available there for you to do for 2025. And if you're a member, you get a special link where your votes get counted twice or more, and also you get a ton of bonus content, which you help us put together.
It's true. Jessica does the narration, and it's lovely. She calls me writer boy a lot. It's a lot of fun.
You write the scripts. I just speak them.
Fair enough. But today, we both get to speak. What are we doing today, Jessica?
Today, we are doing Wallander, Season 1, Episode 3. Or, sorry, Series 1, Episode 3.
Yes, we are continuing our mini Kenneth Branagh marathon with a Wallander episode. To me, I watched this first episode, and I was like, this is just... Wallander has daddy issues. This is just Kenneth Branagh working through his dad shit.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, he was asked to be on this. He is an executive producer, but I don't think it was actually his project. He was approached to do it, not the other way around.
Interesting.
He didn't pitch to do it.
I mean, that happens all the time, I imagine.
That's what they say in the origin story online, which, oh my gosh, there are huge fans of this show. And this is the first time I have been on IMDb, and they have referenced a fan site to go to.
What's the fan site? Now we have to shout it out, obviously.
Branaghswallander.com, hosted by Ian S. Bolton. And it has all kinds of stuff. He met Kenneth Branagh a couple of times. He interviewed a bunch of the other actors and creators, other actors who have played Wallander, like the Swedish Wallanders, people who have done a TV show in Sweden. He talks about the props, like the car, the phone, the gun of Kurt Wallander, and the ringtone.
he gets granular, people. He really does. She sent me a link about the cars, and I was looking, which is a Volvo XC7 something, 720 or something like that. Anyways. And I was just he has screenshots of just about every time that car is on screen. He goes through the different model numbers and
the phones. He's
dedicated.
This is the phone that was for these episodes. Then he got this phone in these episodes, and he credits the people who got him the information, friendly people. And I will say, as much of a fan as he is, which is really great, he doesn't seem like he's going overboard. He's just really an appreciator. And other people have been like, oh, well, let me give you some information about that. And so some, backstage people have been like, hey, here's some information you might want. Doesn't seem like he's pestering them for it. He's just like, hey, this is out there. If anybody knows, I'd like to know. And somebody could tell me. And then he has other friends who have told him stuff.
Do we think that he's British, or do we think that he's Swedish?
Oh, I'm going to say British.
British, okay. Because I was just wondering, maybe he had the whole hometown thing going on. Because I'm not sure we've said this yet, but this was originally this is based on a series of Swedish novels, correct?
Yes, yeah. The writer is Henning Mankell, 1948 to 2015. Swedish author, crime writer, children's book author, and a dramatist. The guy's a total theater nerd. He wrote at least 10 Kurt Wallanders, one book about Kurt Wallander's daughter becoming a police person. He really interesting guy, Henning Mankell. He's known as a left-wing social critic and activist. He started a theater in Mozambique. I think he was asked to become the head of another theater in Mozambique for a certain amount of time. Dropped out of school when he was 16 and went to Paris, and shortly afterwards joined the Merchant Marine. Shortly afterwards, he was 16. Then,
oh my gosh.
2 years later, when he was 18, he returned to Paris to become a writer.
Right.
Took part in the student uprising of 1968, and then later returned to Stockholm to become a stagehand. And then by 20, he was already an author, playwright for the National Swedish Touring Theater of Stockholm.
Wow.
And then he
This is a guy that school was not the right place for him.
Yeah, no. And then he started writing a bunch of plays, and then he wrote a novel about the Swedish labor movement. Anyway, he did a bunch of stuff, and one of them was these great novels that are very mood heavy.
Very mood heavy.
Yeah.
Very mood heavy. Like we had to I say we, me, I had to watch the pilot like in different chunks and a couple times, and I had to start over because it is very moody and it's like very tone, and to a certain extent, like there were certain points where I was just like, I try to watch it at the end of the day and I'd be like, nope, I'm out. Like Jessica would be like, I've seen this bit 3 times and Jacob has fallen asleep again. So,
but they're not bad.
No, they're not bad. They're not boring. They're just like they're moody. Like they're a vibe.
Yeah.
As opposed to like.
This is, to me, I was going to say, like, we're watching this because I was going to say originally that we're watching this because of Nordic Noir. And I was like, we need to do Nordic Noir.
That is 100% why we got in here.
This is actually kind of a little like its own version of Nordic Noir.
How do you mean?
Well, so this is a quote actually from Kenneth Branagh that I'm going to get to. So the novels are set in Sweden, in around the town of Ystad, which is 35 miles southeast of the city of Malmö in the southern province of Skåne, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It has a little circle above the A.
You did it with confidence. I'll give it to you.
Okay. So, and this was on PBS Mystery for 4 seasons. So it's also filmed in Skåne. And Branagh visited a number of times, and obviously because it was filmed there. And he says, it's vast and flat. It has a strong regional dialect. It's a curious, it is a curious, forgotten, unfashionable pocket of land. About 60% of Swedes own summer homes of some kind as a nation for those 6 weeks in the summer where they need to get out into nature or to see the sea or the forest. And the least popular place to do it is in Skåne. That was what he said. It's a land of big sky. It's so flat that you are consciously aware of the dramatic and changing weather pattern. It's physically and visually gives you a space to think.
This is like he's making it sound as if Cleveland was somehow relocated to the middle of nowhere, North Dakota.
Oh, you think that? I was thinking more of Montana, but
Montana,
except that, like, people have more romance about Montana. That sounds like this place is just
That's what I mean. Like, take all the non-romance of Cleveland, put it in the middle of Montana, and be like, well, we're here. Nobody likes the fact that we're here, but we're here.
We're in Sweden now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they do say, people say about this in describing the show, unable to unsee the dark crimes he's tasked to investigate, Wallander's job comes at a cost to his family and relationships.
Yes, this is absolutely Kenneth Branagh being emo.
Yeah.
This is like, you don't, like, literally part of the whole, like, this subplot of the whole first episode was, you don't get me, Dad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right.
No,
you're
that was it.
Right.
That was it. So yes, it is a mood. It is very bleak. It is very, like, he's definitely carrying the weight of the world. He's a world-weary detective here.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got that trope going for us.
Yes, and so just to circle back on the stuff about that Ian Bolton has posted on his brownaswallander.com website. So the ringtone I found out from his website, I feel this is so great. His ringtone was made. It was composed for the show. Okay. It isn't, and they never expected to for it to become a revenue stream, but everybody were super fans of it. Jacob, you just have to hear the ringtone. You put it in. People on message boards have written about it, and one said, I love the defeated simplicity of Kurt's ringtone.
The defeated simplicity. Oh, God. Here we go again.
And another, Ben Hunt, an author of the Material Witness crime fiction blog, which I didn't go to, it's just quoted on Ian Bolton's blog. Ben Hunt has written an entire eulogy to the haunting quality of the ringtone. The ringtone of Kurt Wallander's mobile phone is shrill, insistent, impossible to ignore, and just a little bit hypnotic. As such, the phone represents the pull of the job on Wallander's life. It is always on, liable to go off at any second. It has an unbreakable hold on him.
Is he talking about a ringtone or an ex-girlfriend?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, he is missing his wife quite a bit.
You're right. You're right. Yes, his wife has left him and is seeing somebody else, and he can't let go of the...
He's super sad about it. Mm-hmm. Gosh, I thought I had another quote in here from the writer, because I maybe I read it, but then I forgot to put it in here. Oh, here it is. The novels have an underlying question: what went wrong with Swedish society? Which is definitely like, I think that happens in the first episode, because he's the novelist,
left-wing activist.
Yeah, is talking about how people have become greedy and, not sociable.
Yeah.
Mainly greedy. Mainly greedy.
Yeah, when you get greedy, you only think about yourself. You stop thinking about the communal commonweal.
And of the globe, people are, trying to take advantage of other people and other countries financially, physically,
right.
with their trafficking people. That's the first episode. I joke that I fell asleep a couple times, but it is truly a haunting episode. Yes.
Like, that first episode is ridiculously haunting. And like we talk about, like, there's a crime right away, or like whether they do the whole TV, here's a crime right away that we're going to solve, or whether it's going to be a kind of like Agatha Christie Murder, She Wrote kind of thing, where it takes its time and you meet everybody and then there's a crime. And this does a little bit of both, where it's like, all right, like there is something right up front where you're like, what is happening? What is arresting, so to speak, about this? And then it's like a loop, like that's here. And then you find out about the in quote actual crime that is like the actual crime that's being investigated, and how does that loop back to this first thing that you saw? So you're kind of solving this first crime, but you're actually solving this over here, but it's related to this over there. So.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to this.
I am too.
I want to do all the episodes, but I have maybe in our relationship more of a capacity for moody television.
Whenever your wife says on microphone, in our relationship, you just kind of brace yourself. So I'm
sorry.
I'm happy that
that ended
that way. There we go. Yeah. So there you go. Like, strap in, people. So now we're a relationship podcast.
No, we can go on another podcast and discuss our relationship. Because other people are like, how do you like doing a show by yourself?
Well, all right. So we talked about the creator. We've already told so much about Kenneth Branagh. Do we need to say anything about this, or should we move on to the rest of the cast?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're really, see our last episode. Another reason to watch this show, if you haven't seen it before, is Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, who's that? And then I could say, Loki. Period. Because that's pretty much all I wrote about him. It said Tom Hiddleston, Loki. Period.
No, we covered that when we first started watching this, because it took me 3 times to get through this. Like, she was like, oh yeah, that's Loki. Oh yeah, that's Loki. Oh yeah, that's... By the 3rd time, I was like, oh yeah, I got to the part where Loki showed up, and I was like, there he is. There's Tom Hiddleston. Okay, yeah. And Tom Hiddleston wears great sweaters in this.
Oh my God. This is also a sweater fest. Yes, you're right.
This is a great big sweater fest of a show.
Yeah.
So who else is wearing a sweater in this show?
Well, we also have Sarah Smart, who plays Anne-Britt Hogland, who was also on The Musketeers, which, going back to the actor who was in Whitstable Pearl, who was in The Musketeers. And she was also on Father Brown and Death in Paradise. And so we've seen her a lot in other stuff. She plays the young detective. She was also on a show. This is just a side note. Mm-hmm. Maybe you cut this. But she was also in a show called Woof. Like dogs.
Sure.
Woof.
Yeah.
It was from 1989 to 1997. And the logline is 3 children gain the ability to transform into dogs, keeping a secret from parents and teachers. Over the years, the cast changes, but their adventures with different dog breeds continue, linked by their teacher, Miss Jessup. I just thought that was hilarious. It was like, what in the world is happening over there that they're doing these weird ass shows? I mean, when you think of the pilots that they pass on in the US and a show like Woof is going.
How is this not
for close to 10 years?
How has this not made it over? That is gold.
Is it?
I mean, Hudson and Rex has been going for how long now? You've got kids, you've got dogs, you've got adventures. How is this not a show?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Think about pitch it like this. It's a live action Bluey.
Yes.
Where the kids transform into dogs and have adventures. Come on.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. For sure. For sure.
Oh my God. Or like the Magic School Bus meets Bluey. Like you know what I mean? Like it's all around this teacher. They change into dogs and go off on adventures and learn things. My God. That's just.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. And then we have Jeannie Spark, who plays Linda Wallander, Wallander's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And notably, she was in Sherlock. She was also in Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. She played the Commander of the South. That was the 2024 show.
Yeah, on Amazon. Did you watch any? I didn't watch any of that. You watched a few episodes,
I don't think I've watched that.
Yeah.
I'd like to, though.
Sure.
Moonflower Murders, Vera. She was in a show called Man Down, which is about a deadbeat drama teacher who gets a wake-up call when his girlfriend leaves him. I was like, again, with I can't believe that show. Because in the U.S., they would just be like a history teacher.
Yeah.
Not a deadbeat drama teacher.
Like in the U.S., you say deadbeat drama teacher and everyone's just like.
A what?
Yeah. So.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Nobody trusts a drama teacher in the U.S. Everybody is just supposed to be a natural actor, and we're all so in love with method that it's just like, if you just got to be real, who needs a teacher to teach you how to be real?
Yeah, just method. And there are a bunch of other people that are, notable for. It's just I mentioned those two women because when I watched Wallander the first time, I mean, of course, I recognized Kenneth Branagh, but these two, and I was totally in it when I was like watching them or watching him. But when I saw these two women, I was like, oh, it's all English actors? I don't know why I thought they would have Swedish actors, but they were all to me like I've seen them before. Okay. I was like, oh, I know that face. I know that face for sure. And yeah, and then of course Tom Hiddleston came on the screen, and I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I know these
we're all
people.
British, sure.
So before we go to the guessing. There is, speaking of English actors versus Swedish actors, I know because you shared this with me. Yes, it's true. Sometimes she shares her pre-cheating with me. This is one of those times because this quote was too good not to share. Talk about Kenneth Branagh discussing whether or not he was going to try and be Swedish.
Yeah, well, because the show, I mean, it takes place in Sweden,
right? They are meant to be Swedish characters, and
yes.
Like this is not like an English cop on loan to Sweden. This is supposed to be a Swedish person.
Yes,
they just all happen to sound like they're Brits.
Yeah, and they're also like the costuming is, like you said, sweaters, and I think they're doing some blonde, and they're doing makeup in a certain way, and wearing earrings, and they're doing things to make it Swedish. And you see the signage in, you see signage frequently, and that's all.
I mean, it's
local,
filmed in Sweden,
Swedish, Sweden, yeah. And I can't remember, but there are other things that are like, well, that is very Swedish. Certainly the landscape, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of filter, like blue light filter. But yeah, I think a lot of people would be like, why didn't they do Swedish accents? Why did they do British accents? And then Kenneth Branagh said...
This is Kenneth Branagh saying this, by the way.
I wasn't entirely confident about my ability to sidestep the Swedish chef.
So now I'm just imagining like Kenneth Branagh's hands being like, Fernie Bird, did you do the murder?
Yes. I'm glad he didn't do that. And he explains it more, and there's an article where it says why no.
You don't need any more. That is like, all you need.
Yeah, thanks. Because he tries to make it more culturally, like trying to explain like why the British accent versus the Swedish accent. Why do British people, why does the Swedish accent sound so weird?
Sound the way it sounds
or
to that, yeah.
You know, why does it, not weird, but different to our
so distinct.
ears?
Why is it so distinct?
And why does it not seem to us moody if we were to hear it?
Can you imagine like the Muppet Show, like doing like the Swedish chef, like investigating? Like, no, you're right. It is. It's automatically funny to us. And that's just one of those things.
Yeah. He does. I mean, his Poirot, it does sound kind of, he does give it a Belgian, he does, like, French take.
A little bit of take on it. So he knows, like, again, it's Kenneth Branagh. Like, if he wanted to, he could, but he's just like, there's this thing over it all that it's just not going to work.
We are doing series 3, episode 1. I'm sorry, I had to pause there for a second because it says season 3 in IMDb, but we know it's British, so it's series 3.
Yes, got to be series. If it's not series, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, so series 3, episode 1, called An Event in Autumn. And, okay, so here is the logline. Whilst.
Good job,
British wrote
show.
it. Yeah. Whilst investigating the death of a pregnant girl who was pushed off a ferry.
Oh, my God.
Wallander discovers a 10-year-old skeleton in the garden of the house where he lives with his girlfriend, Vanya.
Oh, wait. Vanya? Okay. There is so much to unpack in that.
I know.
Okay. Let's break this down for a second. The pregnant girl who's been pushed off a boat, like, I'm already in. That's a Wallander episode.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
Well, now I want to go research ferries. I'm like, can I take a ferry? I want to go on a ferry.
Sure. So there's a pregnant lady who's been pushed off a boat.
Yeah.
Very Wallander. Okay, great. But now there's also the skeleton of a 10-year-old child.
Yeah, I don't know if
garden?
it's maybe it's a 10-year-old skeleton, like the skeleton's been there for 10 years.
Oh,
but it's unclear from that sentence. Is it the skeleton of a 10-year-old, or is it the skeleton is 10 years old? Like,
right, the skeleton, the death is 10 years old. And
yeah. And this also kind of reminds me of that Prime Suspect episode that we watched, where
way back when, where they discovered the body
in the concrete in the backyard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so great. I wish I could remember anything about that Prime Suspect episode other than Dame Helen Mirren smoking a cigarette in her mirror. Not in her mirror, in her window.
Yes, in her window.
But so those are two very dead pregnant woman pushed off a boat, 10-year-old skeleton in your garden, and then
with his girlfriend.
He
has a girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend. So good job, Wallander. Maybe thinking that isn't all doom and gloom, but then you have to go and say that his girlfriend's name is Vanya.
Yeah,
like,
what is that?
Chekhov much?
Yeah.
So
is there going to be a gun?
You got your bleak, maybe happy, absurd.
Yeah.
There's your Wallander for you. Bleak, happy,
absurd.
Maybe absurd.
Yeah. When do we go to Moscow?
When will we go? I mean, different.
No.
Yeah. No,
that's not going to happen.
Vanya's not even seagulls. Vanya is much more about just like we're all super duper bored at the country manor.
Yeah.
So
well,
the three sisters are also super duper bored.
A revolt at the end, like that's Cherry Orchard. Sorry. Oh no, that's fine. No, Uncle Vanya.
Yeah, no, there's no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the three sisters. It's so hard. They're all the same. Okay.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I take it back. Yeah,
but
so Wallander.
That's what we got. Wallander, bleak,
and he's
happy,
moved
absurd.
in. He's like U-hauled in with this lady.
Yeah, but we don't know how many years have gone
between series 1 and series 3.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully it won't be years before we're back here guessing. So let's go watch it and do some guessing.
Okay.
Well, we haven't seen the garden.
Nope, we have not seen the house. We haven't seen 10-year-old, like no idea.
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't met the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which as
the 10-year-old, this is like a homonym, right?
What?
Where does it mean a 10-year-old human or formerly human, or does it mean a skeleton that is 10 years old that's been sitting there 10 years?
Yeah, like it's an indeterminate. Like it's not even a hyphen can't fix it. Like a 10-year-old skeleton, like it still could mean the skeleton of a 10-year-old or a skeleton that is 10 years old.
Okay.
So yeah, no,
so we still don't know about that.
We still don't know. No.
But we decided to stop Because we hit the title sequence.
We hit and we saw
those
are
our rules.
We saw a body and a murder, and we saw the title sequence. So we got to stop. So so much for the nice leisurely Agatha Christie. Let's just look at things. Kenneth Branagh. This is just we're back. We're back to TV super duper fast. So here we are. We know nothing. Which is how we like it.
Yeah, but I will say this. I feel like this beginning was not very Wallander. Well, it kind of was.
No, it's absolutely Wallander.
There wasn't like this vast. I mean, there's the vast darkness of the sea that the ferry is going across. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so yes, this takes place on a ferry. We don't know where the ferry is.
I just never seen a ferry with a bar, like a 7-Eleven and a bar. Like a disco bar. There literally are the words disco bar above the as they go into it.
Yes. I've never seen a ferry like that either, but this is a very, very big ferry. It's also presumably hours long of a crossing. I mean, they're probably coming. What I imagine to be happening here is that this is a crossing from something like Denmark over to Sweden.
Oh.
You know what I mean? From the mainland over to Sweden. So it's like a 3 or a 4 hour thing. It's the middle of the night.
Not like Seattle to other place, the Bainbridge Island.
Bainbridge Island, sure, yes,
yeah.
Okay. No, this is a 4 hour kind of
tour.
Yeah,
and those are some really hot Navy vessel people. The people that are the captain
and his crew. Yeah,
crew.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. They are certainly well dressed. They are certainly spiffy. Like, you know what I mean? Like they are like. Sharp. They dress sharp.
Yeah.
But we should tell you about this show rather than their sartorial choices. Although not. This is Jessica's, though I'm sure she's got some hair things to talk about here in a minute too. Maybe later. But in any event, okay. So what do we do? We get into this show. We start following. We're fuzzy close on this woman who is walking through the cramped hallways of something. We're not sure what at first. Turns out to be the ferry, the ship. She's wearing a blue winter parka with like a kind of like beige patterned sweater on underneath it. It looked like at first, I couldn't tell. She has a very red lip, so I couldn't tell if she was bleeding or not. Like, if she had a
really does.
lip.
Or if that was just like a very gel, like glossy lip.
Here we are talking about clothing again.
Yeah, I mean, that's costume.
Sure.
It's makeup. It's makeup.
It's clues. It's all the things. Anyways, so we're following her.
But it turns out she's pregnant.
Yes, she's pregnant, which we knew from the log line. So but her parka is unzipped, so you can see her belly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really see her belly. It's
she's
hidden behind
pregnant.
a sweater. But yes, she's very pregnant. Then we cut to a very drunk, disheveled man in a convenience store.
Inside the ferry.
Buying just a 6-pack of beer. Then we cut back to the girl. She walks
bar.
through the disco bar, which literally does say disco bar. There are some people dancing around in the disco bar. And she goes outside and she opens a gate and then she closes the gate behind her. She goes.
And the gate there's a sign that says in 3 different languages, this is a restricted area.
Yeah, not allowed here. So she goes up the railing and looks out at the side.
And she stands up on the railing and she seems very much like she might throw herself off the side.
Right.
But then she has a thought and decides to step down.
So
she has a moment of like,
nope, don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So she steps down.
Sort of a moment of power, I feel like. She's
made her choice.
She's made her choice. That's to live.
Yeah. So she steps down, turns around, looks at the camera, the camera then approaches her as if somebody is walking up to her.
Yeah. And then she looks at that person and is like defiant.
Is that what you're reading? It was kind of inscrutable to me. I couldn't really.
I thought she was pissed and defiant, but also like
she wasn't scared.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, I can see that. But she was, because you're right. Like, she wasn't scared.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I don't know what that actually was.
So she knew the person, though. I felt like she definitely knew the person.
I agree.
Yeah.
She looked like she knew that. She was not like, who are you? What are you doing here? You know what I mean? It was like, okay, here we are again kind of thing.
And then we see a guy with the beer. He's drunk the beer. He sits down near a window at the ferry. There's a bunch of seats, but he takes the window seat.
Yeah, he's not having fun in the disco bar is what this is also.
Yes.
Like he's holding himself apart.
And he kind of takes a sleepy nap, or he's
about
dozing,
to pass out.
And he sees a body and hears a scream ball past the window.
Yeah. So he hits the alarm button.
Yes.
The crew the captain of the ship says, do a roll call, make sure everyone's accounted for. They do a roll call. Nobody's missing. And while they're doing the roll call, like they're getting the people from the disco bar and talking to them, and they're shouting out names. Not shouting out names, but doing names. And the captain of the ship is like looking out at sea. They've got like a spotlight on the dark sea. It's black. And like he's looking out with his binoculars. They don't see anything. So, and then the woman, the crew member who was doing the roll call is like, everybody's accounted for. So he's like, everybody's accounted for, and the guy's been drinking. And the guy is speaking a foreign language, like he's not speaking English, which I'm doing air quotes, but English in this case is
the guy
Swedish.
With the beer, who went to the 7-Eleven, who saw it, the witness.
Right. The subtitles helpfully say he's speaking Polish. Yeah. So he's speaking another language, and so like he's drunk, he's foreign, they don't really trust him, like fine, whatever, it's a false alarm. Then they just decide to go off, and that was the opening sequence.
Yeah.
I'm going to come right to, I don't think it was the captain, because the captain was like occupied on the bridge. But I do think because the person wasn't on the roll call as a passenger, I think she was smuggled on board as the girlfriend of one of the crew.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think this is a human trafficking story. I think this is a somehow like just corruption in the ranks kind of thing. So I think because also like somebody knew where to find her. She knew who it was. There was that in the beginning when she's walking through, she was kind of in the bowels of the ship. Do you know what I mean? And she was like, as she was walking, 2 other crew members turned a corner in front of her, and then she kind of like went for the door after that they had just gone through. So
I couldn't remember. I would have to watch it again I thought she's not avoiding them. It didn't seem like, or did it?
Like she wasn't hiding from them. They just didn't even they didn't even see her. But I'm wondering. So I'm wondering if like this is. I think she's part of. I don't know that she's part of the crew. Maybe that is. Maybe she is. Maybe she's part of the crew.
Okay.
You know, maybe she's not just like the girlfriend of someone on the crew. Maybe she's part of the crew. But I think someone on the crew did it. I'm going to say her boyfriend's best friend. I'm not going to say her boyfriend. I'm going to say her boyfriend's best friend or one of his boyfriend's friends, because the friend was just like, you're ruining who this guy is. So I'm going to kill you, and just so he can have the life that he's meant to do. I think somebody was killing her on behalf of the person who got her pregnant. That's what I think.
And she knows the crew members?
Yes. I think she does. I think she knows the crew members.
Okay. I like that a lot.
I don't know that there's anything to do with the 10-year-old body.
It's just 2 separate things.
Yeah.
It's not Poirot.
Well, I think, yes, I don't think that this is Poirot. I don't think they're going to, I think they'll be linked thematically. And so I think the idea of like family and children and all of that is going to be a part of this, especially since he's now living with his girlfriend, Vanya.
Yeah.
And I laughed when you couldn't remember like the Cherry Orchard versus Vanya versus Seagull. But I got to tell you, sitting here right now, all I can remember about Vanya is Wallace Shawn and Julianne Moore. I know there's another actor in it, or I think there's just like there's an actor in the Seagull. I think like the main character or like the person who owns the estate is an actor or an actress, or maybe she's just rich and she comes back. But I know there's lots of unrequited love. I don't remember. Anyways, my point is I don't remember enough about Vanya, Uncle Vanya, to actually know what those resonance thematic things might be, is what I'm saying. So I apologize for giving you snark, because I'm just like, what would that be? I don't know.
Well, I appreciate all of this. As you are a writer, this sounds very plausible, and I like it all. Because mine was boring. Mine was definitely...
Jazz it up. Now's your chance. Jazz it up. Throw some rabbits in there.
I'm really stuck. Oh, rabbits. Okay. I don't know. Okay. She's a rabbit dealer. And
do it. Go for it. The fur on her parka was made from some like rare rabbit, and that's why she was thrown overboard so that someone could like
they're
get
smuggling rabbits.
Right, could get all the money from
Sweden,
her parka. Yeah, exactly.
Or from Poland, or
Denmark or
Denmark,
wherever.
Yeah.
There's some rabbit smuggling happening.
Oh my gosh. Can that be your like B guess?
Sure.
Because it's way better. Because I mean, I'm having a hard time letting this go. I just keep thinking of the Prime Suspect episode, which I think is about people who are not originally from the country or they're
immigrants as well. Yes.
Yeah, they're immigrants. And there's sort of like a Romeo and Juliet situation going on in that episode.
Yeah.
So, I was like, oh, this woman is trafficked. She was probably pimped. And but I think, oh my gosh, this is just Jessica conflating storylines. Because I was like, it's just like that Prime Suspect episode where the girl is Czech. And I'm like, no, that's actually a whole other Prime Suspect episode.
Yes,
that is
right.
not the same one
You're
as
right.
the body in the garden, Jessica.
Yeah. The body in the garden, I think we just watched just for background
funsies?
purposes.
Oh,
but we guessed on the Czech girl because that was the one that also had, it wasn't.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't
was
genre.
It Hugh Bonneville?
No, it was he was in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah, Ian Glenn.
Maybe I don't remember, but
maybe?
Yes,
yeah, maybe. No, it wasn't Ian Glenn. It was the Onion Knight.
Yes.
What is that actor's name? I can't remember. Anyway, yes, I'm conflating episodes. I'm just conflating all the Prime Suspect episodes into one storyline.
One storyline of Helen Mirren getting betrayed and finding the right people and smoking and being
that's
a
what's going to
badass.
happen in this Wallander episode.
Helen Mirren is going to show up and
yes,
there
she guest stars.
She's Vanya.
Oh my God, is that going to happen?
I would love that.
I didn't look.
I would love it if Vanya was Helen Mirren and like they break up at the end of this and that was it. That was her episode.
Okay, Jacob. Well, let's see what happens.
But you think she's someone who's being trafficked?
Yeah.
Great. Yes, let's find out. Please, fingers crossed for some Dame Helen fucking Mirren. Let's do this.
I'll see you soon. But she knew that her father was a suspect for the body in the garden. And she was like, it's that girl. And I think the farmer did it.
Yeah, I think yes. That okay. That tracks. That makes sense because she was calling to get her father off of the murder rap.
Yeah.
Right. But when they first spoke, she was like, we didn't know she was murdered. We just assumed she went back up north. Got it. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So that wasn't the reason why she went to the U.S. after 9/11, but she knew her father was a bad man.
Yeah.
But she said he's not a murderer, but he was a bad man.
And she was doing this for her mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're burying the lead, though, Jessica.
Yes.
We're burying the lead.
Which is?
I won.
Wait, how did you win?
What do you mean? Check the tape. Actually, we're not going to check the tape because we're recording this, but check what I said.
I wrote down JC, meaning you.
Sure.
Jacob Coakley. Her boyfriend's best friend killed her. She knows the crew members.
Gosh darn it. Okay.
You were close. It was her quote unquote boyfriend, and her boyfriend kills her best friend.
Yes.
But it wasn't her boyfriend's best friend who killed her.
Yes, but it was somebody on the boat. I was so happy to have gotten that part right.
It was somebody on the boat.
I won.
Who
okay,
worked
I
on the
didn't
boat.
win. For fart's sake. I tried to get a little fancy because it was clearly somebody on the boat who had to do it.
Yeah.
But it was their best friend. Gosh darn, look.
You were super close.
I can't say I was pleased at the end of this this movie.
If this was a dartboard, you were near the center.
Yeah, but no half points in this show.
Okay.
No half points. But I really look, everybody, this show, woof.
Oh my gosh. This is the season opener. Series opener.
Series opener. Oh, oh my goodness.
So many dead bodies. Skeletons. People killing themselves. And talking about other people killing themselves.
Like Wallander just he smiles in the beginning, but halfway through he's back.
It's like for every smile they killed somebody.
Yes. It really is. Like, don't dare to feel any kind of moment of happiness. I will extract a dead body from you for this.
The farmer even says, I think it was fate. And he goes, fate?
It wasn't fate. It was you.
It wasn't him, though. It was the farmer's son.
Okay. So let's explain or
the
try to
farmer's
explain
son
what happened.
who works on the ferry.
Yes. Okay. So in chronological order, 10 years ago, this woman was
There was a skeleton.
murdered.
There's a skeleton in Wallander's backyard.
We're not. No. We're going.
There was a woman who was a woman.
Yes. Okay. But we're literally going to go from chronological order from from the time of the murders. So like 10 years ago from this episode, a woman was murdered. 10 years later, this woman was pushed off the side.
Another woman.
Another woman was pushed off the side of a boat.
Yes.
And then that woman's best friend was sexually assaulted and strangled
to death and pushed through a window. Her head pushed through a window.
Yeah, it was a brutal scene. Like,
yes,
there was a time when back in the 90s, when I was just a fledgling writer trying to write things, one of the first things I wanted to write, which creeped you out because you met me. So this was in the 90s. This is like 2000, 2001. I wanted to write a piece that was kind of a reaction to gun fu, like John Woo gun fu, all this glamorized gunplay and violence and everything else that was happening in movies. And I wanted to show just how like violent shit could get. And like, I didn't want it to be glamorized. I didn't want it to be sexy. I just wanted it to be dark. And so I went and I did some research. I went to the library and I looked at crime scene photography and I looked at mugshots and I looked at all these things, and it was depressing AF. It was because, of course, crime actually is quite brutal. Murder and crime, like it's bad. It's a bad time, folks. This is hard. I don't know that I want to live in this. And that's the whole point of Wallander, is that he does live in this and that this is like rotting away at his soul. He's not talking to his daughter in this season.
Yes,
series.
I know. This series, this episode. No, her, no Tom Hiddleston.
Right. You're right. Tom Hiddleston's gone from this series too. He's probably off being Loki.
Yeah.
But my point on this is that like that assault scene was horrifying. It was terrifying. Oh, yes. Every time you smile, we're going to extract another dead body from your soul.
Yeah. And then the girlfriend, played by Saskia Reeves, who is from Slow Horses.
Yes, I totally recognized her. And I was like, what? Who is this? And I didn't know why I recognized her. I was like, oh my God, I know this. So yes, but she's from...
So great. Slow Horses. I mean, she's from 100 things, but that is what we have loved her in more recently. Yeah, at the end, she makes him go to counseling with her.
They go to couples therapy.
And
the joke at the end of the couples therapy?
Yes, please.
No,
you, me?
Yes.
That she says, well, I liked that we don't, we just leave negative things for the room, not anywhere else. And then I liked her as a therapist. And he says, yes, I've worked with her before. And she says, what? Yes, before the divorce.
Yeah. They can't even give you that, because of course he also talks about how like in therapy he's like, look, I'm a mess. I'm gonna be a mess. So they started therapy, and the Vanya was just like, I don't know why he doesn't talk to me or open up, or like why he's so upset. And Jessica literally blurted. We paused it, and Jessica blurted out loud, "He's just seen 3 dead bodies this week," which we're gonna talk about the actual bodies here in a second. But
3 dead bodies and a suicide happens right behind him.
Right in front of him. Yes, behind him. He doesn't actually see it. In any event, Jessica's like, he's seen all this death this week. And that's literally the next thing out of his mouth. He's just like, lady, I've seen 3 dead girls this week. What do you want from me?
Yeah. And she says earlier in the episode, I mean, this is so writery and poetic and Shakespeare, when she's like, so I guess it's comfortable to put on the old clothes. Yes. And then such a deadly,
like she's like
Nordic
slipping
Noir
the
pause.
knife between
And
his
he
ribs
goes,
right there.
no, it isn't. Such a long pause.
It's just a great long pause.
Great.
It's like everybody in this show is still doing great work. Like just it's a vibe, people. It's moody and it's creepy and it's oddly funny and
I think about how you went, or like any American kid doing like method acting, in high school or in college, and like, Steppenwolf, like, you're really yelling, we're doing True West and we're going to tear each other's throats out. And here's this guy standing in his jacket outside in his garden. He's just made a discovery. And she comes out and is like, it's so comfortable to put on the old clothes, isn't it? Pause. No, it isn't. And then pause. I'm sorry, I have to go. Like, that's all. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Yes, which at least is better than it was, because he took a ferry ride from Denmark to Poland and back overnight, and like just didn't show up at home and didn't call and didn't do anything. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that was not cool.
Yeah, no. Like, he's not behaving well, but I think his point is that him not behaving well is entirely justified because, okay, makeup artists on the show and props people on the show, well done, because like they show parts of the body of the woman who was pushed overboard and the propeller has chopped the body, and like the little bits, they're not little bits, they're big bits, but just they show them very briefly, and even that was like, whoa,
yeah,
like it's just, again, with the violence, like this is a show that like really does get into the fact that things are violent. Things like things are people. It's hard to shake it off. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is a show. Like, this is not Midsummer Murders.
No. And the ringtone right from the beginning, right after the title sequence. Just showing you like, you can't get away from it, dude. You really can't.
You really can't. And that's even a line. They're like, because he tries to ignore it.
Yeah.
He tries to ignore it, and then eventually he's like, fine, I may as well pick this up. So, okay, I am going to inject a little bit of levity here.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the dog acting in this episode. There is a horrible moment. This is, oh my God. So there's this scene where they're trespassing, and because there's trespassing, there's a guard dog. So the guard dog bites Wallander on the arm, and his partner, I forget her name. Anna Britt. His partner is trying to like shoot the dog to get the dog off of him. And then a second dog breaks free. And so she shoots that dog. And then she ends up shooting the other dog. And because the dogs are there, they haven't seen the suspect that they're trying to arrest. Well, the suspect, after she shot the dog, and everyone's just like, what the hell just happened? Calm down. It's okay. They were coming at you. You think there's a moment of peace. The suspect comes out of his garage with a sledgehammer and knocks her upside the head. We thought she was dead. She's not. She was just in a coma, which, I mean, her life is still probably ruined.
Yeah.
Moment of levity. Again, what I'm trying to say here. Those dogs, like, they were trained acting dogs. Those dogs were acting.
Yes.
They were acting. So good job. Good job, dogs acting.
Hudson and Rex actor.
Right. I'm glad they're getting some more work.
Yeah.
And then like to the whole makeup thing that I got on this is like she shoots the dogs and they show the dogs bleeding out.
Yeah.
They show the wounds in the dogs and the dogs bleeding out. And you're like, oh my God, these dogs. And you like, no, those dogs are acting. That dog had to like patiently lie there and wait for this makeup to be applied to them.
Oh, you're right.
And then just lie there and pant and be okay with just the camera getting that shot and everything else on it. And the dogs had to do the barking like they were really fierce. But you know these dogs are really such good boys because they're like able to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they had to put up with like
You could actually see them bounding around the yard as they're coming towards her, and they're just
yeah. So like the editing and the editing and the music and everything
makes it look very
fierce and dramatic, but it's just like but yes, like the makeup on the dogs where they're doing that, like the makeup on, it's just, and it's beautiful. It's horrifying and beautiful. There's this great overhead shot of the three of them in this circle, like all the two dead dogs. And
Wallander and Anna Britt
and Britt like lying on the ground.
Yeah,
with,
they're like all in a circle.
They're all in a circle, and there's just blood in the center, and the stones all. It's gorgeous and haunting. This is a haunting show. And a haunting
and then
episode.
the shot when the other Mariska's friend is also being killed inside the car, and then she's being strangled with her head out the window.
Yes.
And the shot is from above, so you just see her eyes and her neck with the hands around it, and that was haunting for me. I was just, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah. No, that is the word of this episode for me. Haunting. Yeah. I also want to give props to the sound designer in this episode, as long as we're talking about the ringtone and everything else, because like there's one of the suspects who doesn't turn out to be anything, is a guy who works in what looks to be like a lumber mill or some kind of like factory or something like that.
He used to be a renter in the house.
And at Wallander's house, he used to be a renter there, so Wallander goes to see him. Wallander visits him twice, and at both times, he's the only person you see in this factory. He's the only one. Like there's you don't see a foreman, you don't see other coworkers, you don't see anything. You just see this one guy, but the factory sounds as if it's in like full on, like there's
somebody's cutting lumber.
Somebody's cutting lumber. Somebody's working on this. There's like the sounds of this factory make it seem as if like it's incredibly vibrant, and there's there's 100 things going on all at once. But he's the only the suspect is the only person there.
You're so right. I didn't notice that.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
That is exactly the point.
God.
So
good eye.
But then like. So like he gets that right, or he. I assume that the sound person is a he. Is who knows? Women can do sound too, but like the phone at the end. So So Wallander eventually figures out that it's the farmer's family next door, not the farmer himself. It's the farmer's son, but it's the farmer's family. So he goes to visit with the farmer, and the farmer kills himself. But the phone is ringing, and the phone has this incredible distortion and reverb on it, and that sound continues throughout the scene. It's just good job with the sound on this.
Which sound in the farmhouse?
Yeah,
the sound. Oh,
as soon as the farmer kills himself, there's a pop, and then everything skews. Everything gets a little distorted.
I gotta watch that again.
And all that stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's great.
I noticed there's a lot of distortion through windows.
Yes,
all the windows are warped. Is that from the weather?
I don't think I think it's just old glass is what you're meant to be seeing. Because there's a lot of shots. They do the trick where they like this in this, especially with the beginning and everything else. They do the whole like the camera as a character's POV, like looking through something, like looking through a pane of glass. It's like as the point of view of like the bad guys. So like you can see what they're seeing and get a sense of danger and threat and everything on it, but you don't know who's actually doing it.
It's a fun episode.
I mean, fun in quotes.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. What was I saying?
But
I just mean like there was just so much going on. How many Christies would you give it?
I would give this one a lot, because I also said, like, I know that I was super close. Yes, but I didn't win. Fine. But what I also said was that, of course, there's not going to be any relation between the body in the garden and this person who jumped off a boat.
Wah, wah.
Yes, exactly. Of course there was a relation. Wallander says throughout the whole thing, I'm a policeman. I'm not supposed to believe in coincidences. Nothing is a coincidence. Like that happens like 2 or 3 times. So yes, Jacob over here believing in coincidence. No, it's just going to be thematic. Why not both?
Right.
So my point is, for Christie's on this one, I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to give it a 6.5 because we all pretty much immediately knew it was going to be somebody from the boat. But the way they got there and the way they maneuvered it and all the different suspects. I mean, that guy. So the first suspect, or one of the suspects that they got, came on, and we were both immediately like, "Oh my God, who's that guy?" And we recognized him. He's from Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah,
he was Izzy in Our Flag Means Death. Total 100, not 180, like not cartoonish, but still violent and menacing in this as well. In any event, but like, so yeah, how they got to the guy on the boat with all the twists and turns and red herrings and everything else, I really dug.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it 6.5. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm there too. I think that's a really good rating because it's not like there were so many different weavy storylines, you know, people with different motivations and different, it was kind of all, although I was in the neighborhood as well, but not as close as you.
Right.
Because I didn't think, I thought it had something to do with trafficking, and sure enough, Mariska, the girl on the boat, and her best friend were both involved in prostitution. They were being
pimped out, and the girls
they were from Poland.
Yes, and the girl who was killed to begin with was not a prostitute, but the first suspect was a pimp and was prostituting other girls.
Yeah,
I will also say this about the Christies, and a thing that I liked, and I don't think I've ever seen this before. I know I haven't seen this before. I'm not sure if they snagged this from someplace else. But one of the great big misdirects of this was that, so Wallander's dog finds a dead body underneath these black currant bushes at his house. Well, what he realizes, one of the things it does is that he looks at the brochure for his house and he realizes, oh, wait a minute, those bushes weren't there when I bought this house. Now, they weren't there 10 years ago. They haven't been, this dirt and these bushes, this body hasn't been sitting there for 11 years. Somehow this body was moved there.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the farmer's house and he sees the ditches that the farmer has dug out, because the farmer has dug out the grave and these currant bushes and transplanted them to just outside Wallander's home, which I thought was pretty genius. I was like, that's a great misdirect.
Yes, that the body was moved. Because when he talks to the guy who was the other renter, the guy's like, oh no,
there wasn't anything
there's
there. There
nothing
was a flood.
there. There was a flood and it carried everything away. And so I thought for a second, oh, well, maybe the body got washed over there. But no, it
was the black
actually
currant, the farmer doing the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was great. And also from now on, I'm going to, like, I'm going to check every Zillow listing against like crimes and be like, okay, it's like spot the difference between these two pictures.
Doing the back of People magazine.
Yes.
What's in this picture?
Highlights murder for children.
Find 20 things.
Find 20 things different between these two crime scenes.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think we got it all. The only other thing I'll finally say, and this just amuses me, so I'm going to share it for no apparent reason other than just Wallander in therapy. Like, doesn't that sound like a late 90s, like semi-serious half-hour comedy that you would have seen, like Wallander in therapy with something. Are
you doing the Newhart?
I was trying to do like a cross between like Newhart and Seinfeld.
Oh.
And there's where I was going for that. But Wallander in therapy. How's it going, honey? Well, saw more dead girls today. Why is that a laugh track? Why is that? What's funny about that? Yeah. So
he'd sort of stutter a little. Saw more dead girls today. Right?
Yes.
That's how
well
you
done.
would say it.
You had me. I was entranced. I didn't say anything because I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? All right, but nothing is coming up next for us, well, except for the next episode. But this episode, it is time for us to close that out. So thank you for listening. But before you go,
please follow and subscribe and give us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And if that feels like too much paperwork for you, detective, then just tell a friend about us. That helps too.
Yeah. And we got a Patreon, so you can support us and become a member. You can join at the $5 or a $10 level, become a detective or a inspector.
You'll get raw footage, exclusive episodes, access to seasonal live shows. More info on that is coming up, and extra votes in our season planning poll. It's going on now, so you can make sure that we do the shows you love. So go visit us and become a member at patreon.com/Cluedunnit podcast. Again, that's patreon.com/Cluedunnit podcast. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
This closing script is officially approved by the Totally Fake Podcasting Adjudication Board. No, this guy is the worst. He worked there, and none of his coworkers should be blamed for his.
Yes, you're 100% correct. This has nothing to do with his coworkers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
can't say I'm interested in taking a ferry though from Sweden to Poland now.
No, they did not make that seem very attractive.
Yeah. I don't know. The disco bar, maybe. A 7-Eleven, sure. Okay.
Get your packet of crisps.
Yeah.
Packet of crisps and a ginger ale to help with the seasickness.
Right.